Ezekiel 37 verses 1 to 14 talk about God's promise of restoration for Israel. He is zealous for her redemption, and we must catch his zeal for her. In verse 11, it talks about how Israel is the dry bones, and God desires to let his breath enter into her once again. To say that Israel's condition is that of dry bones is offensive, and yet God is very clear about this truth. God even uses the word behold through Ezekiel to call to attention Israel's true condition, that she is dead without God and she is dead without Jesus. However, in the same verse, it is written that Israel will acknowledge her dryness, the hopelessness of her situation, and even believe that she is cut off. In Hebrew, this word cut off means to believe that one is separated completely from life and one is left for dead. With this in mind, we must pray for Israel to acknowledge her true condition and turn to Yahweh, to God, as the only answer and solution for her. For out of his zeal, God is willing and more than able to restore and resurrect her. This passage in Ezekiel 37 is a message of restoration and redemption. While Israel seems to be dead, God has not forsaken nor left them. In fact, in verse 6, it talks about how God will take Israel out of her grave and cause her to know that Yahweh is the Lord. In their hopelessness, God will pour out his Spirit upon them. Verse 14 talks specifically about how God will put his breath in them, just as he had mentioned in Jeremiah 32 and Ezekiel chapter 36. In verses 9 to 10, the word breath in Hebrew has the same root word as the Holy Spirit. God will once again do an Acts 2 outpouring of the Holy Spirit by sending forth his mighty rushing wind upon them and cause his breath to enter into them through this sending forth of the wind. He will bring forth an outpouring of the Spirit unto a revival of dry bones, that they may come alive once again. And while the fullness of this promise is not yet, we can pray for this promise to come to pass, the restoration of dry bones unto the salvation of unbelieving Jews and the revival of Israel.